What is happening, everybody? MG here, MGCovers, bringing you a brand new sports handicapping video. Title of this video, how to build sports betting models using line movement. Super fascinating. It's basically sort of a backwards approach to building stat models. Before we do that, if you're watching me for the first time, greatly appreciate you subscribing to the channel. There is a ton of content related to education on my channel, so if you subscribe, watch the videos, you will improve your sports handicapping. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I give out a ton of content, probably post there on my story more than anywhere else, so you can get a lot of tidbits. Sometimes it's a free play, sometimes it's a video similar to this but shorter, so you get a lot of value simply by following me on social media, and that is MGCovers, cover spelled with the Z. There's a link to follow me, and follow me there as well. All right, so let's dive into this video about using line movement to build stat models. Before we do that, I do want to quick little brag here about our model for Major League Baseball. We've had a lot of success, a really good run here lately. I think like an 8-4 run in the last 12, and we just crossed over 30 units for Major League Baseball. So this model started out really well. We made some changes to it. It went down to like 13 units, and now it's climbed all the way back over to over 30 units. We got up to 33 units. Had a losing day yesterday, but that's really good. We're actually 138 and 118 plus 30.88 units year to date for Major League Baseball. Again, we got 2 more months basically left in the season, so our goal there is to get to 40. All right, so let's talk about line movement. Using line movement to help you build stat models. So what we're going to do, we're going to look at, I'm going to give you out all the links here, what I'm doing, so that you can go back later and do this on your own. I'm at bookmakersreview.com. It's a great resource. I use it a lot. And you're looking at the week of October the 1st for NFL season last year. So what we're going to focus on, teams that won where we had positive line movement from the opening line to the closing line. Now, the opening line they use, it's basically a generic opening line, which means they take a consensus of all these books to create an opening line. So that's the opening line we're going to use. And just to make it simple, and we're going to use the closing line of Bookmaker, which is, ironically, a lot of people don't talk about it, but it's actually a very, very sharp book. So if we have positive line movement opening to Bookmaker, and that team won, then that's the game that we're going to focus on. So for example, Seattle opened at -1.5, closed at 2, so we'll look at that one. We had Houston plus 4.5. It went down to, let me make sure I got Bookmaker. Okay, it's here. Went down to 3, so we'll look at that one. Rams opened as a pick. It closed at -2. They won and covered. That's what we're looking for, teams that won and covered. Minnesota -3, closed at 4.5, and they won and covered. Let's look at that one. Push Chargers and Vegas. That was a good one. A lot of line movement there. -4.5, closed at 6. They won and covered. And then you had Arizona that opened at 14, closed at 14.5. They won and covered. And then finally Detroit. It opened at +1 and moved all the way into being a favorite at 2.5. So the reason we're doing that, we want to look where we have line movement moving in favor of the team that won. Okay, now, if you come over here, look to your right, this is teamrankings.com, which is a great resource. And let me pull it up this way so that you can see it. Okay, so I'm at their homepage here. I'm going to have to move me down a little bit to show you this. So then the first thing I do is I go to NFL. Let me slide me over here, my bad. And I'm going to go to stats. And then I'm going to go to turnovers. I'll explain this in a second. Turnover margin. Now, the games that we're looking at are games from October the 1st. So the way team rankings works, they give you a year-to-date, the last game stats, and they combine the last 3 stats. So what our model is basically, we're going to look at the last 3 games prior to that for our potential model. So what I mean by that is, so you click on this date, scroll all the way back. Okay, the games we're going to look at are here, October 1st and 2nd. So we're going to click on September the 30th. So now we have stats. The last 3 games averaged up until this date. Does that make sense? So we're simulating a true back test as though this was live. And what you're looking at, and then you just click last 3 and it will organize them. You can organize it anyway. You can click here and do them alphabetically. You can do them year to date, or you can do the last 3, which is what we're going to look at. Okay. So let me put me back in place over here. And here's what we're going to do. So we're going to try to find to see if turnover margin correlates to line movement in the team that won. So, for example, Seattle won and covered. So let's look at Seattle's. Get some feedback. Seattle's turnover margin. Sorry about that. Seattle is here at 0.7. Giants' turnover margin is minus 1.7. So that means that the turnover margin for this particular game, the last 3 games combined average for turnover margin correlated to winning. Okay? Let's look at Pittsburgh and Houston. There's Pittsburgh plus 1.3, Houston 0.7. So that one did not, which means Pittsburgh had the better turnover margin but ended up losing the game. So Houston, where the line movement moved in its favor, that particular game, it did not correlate. Let's look at Rams, and then I tell you, I got a tracker over here. Let me pull this up. Yeah, so Seattle, that one won. Houston lost. And let's look at the Rams and Indianapolis. There's the Rams minus 1. Indianapolis is 0.7, so that one did not correlate to winning. And there's a lot of ways to do it. I'm just showing you one particular way, and we're going to look at more than one stat. All right, Minnesota. Minnesota down here at the bottom at minus 2.3. They played Carolina. Carolina at minus 0.7. So that was a loss. Now we're going to look at Chargers. Did I do this wrong? No, I'm right. I'm right. Okay. Chargers and Vegas. So here's the Chargers at plus 1 turnover margin. You see over here. Vegas is down here at the bottom, minus 2.3. So that one did correlate, so we'd write a win. San Francisco and Arizona. San Francisco 1.3. Arizona at plus 1, so that one correlated. And then finally we have Detroit and Green Bay. So we have Green Bay right here at minus 0.3, Detroit at minus 0.7. Again, small sample size, but I'm just showing you this as an example. So that one did not correlate. So now we look at that. It basically went 3 and 4. Okay. Now let's use a different stat. So this time we're going to use passing yards per game. And we'll do the same thing. So we'll come over here, click on the date, scroll back. You can't see it, but I'm clicking on September 30th. So again, just to review, this pulls up the last 3 games prior to this one. So you're simulating as though this would be live. And then we'll just repeat the process we did to see if passing yards correlates to using the line movement that correlates to winning. Seattle is, make sure I got this right, last 3. Okay, here we go. Seattle 228 yards average. New York Giants down here at the bottom 165. So we got a win with Seattle. And you don't have to put it in Google Sheets. You could just write it on a sheet of paper to make it go fast. All right, next one, Houston and Pittsburgh. There's Houston 271, Pittsburgh 208. So now we're 2-0. And again, if you're watching the previous videos, the whole goal of, or the emphasis stages of building a model, you have to find a stat or stats that correlate to winning. That is the number one step. which is what we're trying to do, but we're using line movement, and where line movement actually won a game, and then correlating that stat to that winning game. All right, let's look at the Rams here. Rams and Indianapolis. There's the Rams 284, Indianapolis 210. So that was a win. So this is looking good, right? Minnesota and Carolina. Minnesota 339. Carolina 200. Wow. So this is good. All right, the next one is going to be Chargers and Vegas. Chargers way up at the top. They were 308 average passing yards per game. And Vegas was 226. So already we notice a significant difference, right? It just looks and feels different. And it's kind of exciting when you sort of see something that correlates like this. And then we have San Francisco and Arizona. San Francisco there at, make sure I got the right, yeah, right here. San Francisco averaging 236 yards passing in their last three. Arizona only averaging 173. And that might have been, look how big that difference was. And if you follow a lot of my videos in the past, we talked about margin. The bigger the margin, that's a significant margin. You had San Francisco 236, Arizona only averaging 173. So that was a win. And then finally, let's see if we can get the sweep. Detroit and Green Bay. Detroit averaging 249 yards passing. Green Bay averaging 196. So, now, this is not to say that passing yards is going to be a stat that correlates to winning long term, because this sample size is small. Again, I'm just showing you a way that you can use line movement to potentially find a stat or stat that correlates to winning. Now, your next question might be, you would say, well, we got these numbers over here. How would you create a line for that? Glad you asked. I actually teach stat model building. If you're interested in learning about that, you can sign up on the email list. I'll send you more information about it. There's a link to get more information in the description of this video. So if you just scroll down and it says, want to learn to build models with me, and I'll send you some more info about that. But it's basically one-on-one coaching. Let's look at another example. We're going to do this from soccer here. So we'll go to, this was from Brazil Series A, and this is Odds Portal here. And again, if you're doing this, you want to make sure you use a sharp book. You wouldn't want to use Bovada or maybe DraftKings. You want to make sure that you're using a sharp book here. So this Brazil Series match on July 24th, you can see here, we'll look at the Pinnacle line movement. Pinnacle is another well-known sharp book. And look at opening odds, plus 278, and then look where it closed. It closed at plus 210, and that team actually won. So the process is basically the same. Let's go back. Now I'm over here at flashscore.com, a very good resource. And that was the particular game right there. So I might look at the last three matches, last four matches right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, to see if I could find some type of stat or stats that correlated, or try to figure out why the sharps actually picked that. And another thing you could do, you could also do this with the football example I used. Look at the opposing team, right? So in this case, this would be, I can't pronounce this team, Palmeiras. We would look at the stats for this particular team. Let me spread this out so you can see here. All right, so this was the match they lost. I would look at 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe these last four matches, and see if I can find a stat or stat that might correlate to losing. So you actually do the opposite, and you could do that with football as well. So I hope that video helped. Again, it's just basically a simple way you can use line movement to review. You want to use a sharp book. Look, see if you have positive line movement. If that team wins, then you need to go back and see if you can find a stat or stat that correlates to winning for that particular team. If you want access to all my lines for all sports, we have soccer, and WNBA is going to start up next month, as well as college football and NFL. Super excited about that. Also have Major League Baseball power rankings, you get access to that every single day. $50 a month, very affordable. If you want access to everything I just mentioned, in addition to all my personal plays, $100 a month. And the best value is, instead of paying $100 each month, you can pay $4.99 one time. You save $600 on the year, and you get access to everything on the site for 1 year. Hope this video helped. Like, subscribe to the channel. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.